welcome to the first installment of my toy reviews. I will be focusing a majority of my time on action figures, particularly from NECA, because I think they have a superior, well, maybe not superior, but better way of designing toys. So, for this episode, I'm going to be reviewing the Gandalf with light up staff, and I believe that's the basic Gandalf the Grey that you could buy from the Fellowship of the Ring section of the toys. I will also be reviewing Legolas Greenleaf there, again, the more basic of the Legolas action figures. And I believe he is from the Fellowship of the Ring version, the green box version. And finally, Strider. I'm not particularly sure the specific title of this action figure, but he is a green box Fellowship of the Ring action figure as well. So, let's start with Gandalf.
A wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
I like this Gandalf because, for one, it does look legitimately like Gandalf the Grey. By the way, he is an action figure I got from a lot of action figures on eBay, so that's why he does not have Gambling, his sword. No, not Gambling. Maybe Gambling. I don't know. But that's why he doesn't have his sword. So, please forgive me for that. But he does have his staff. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you how bright it is or how it lights up because he does not have batteries. I will hopefully be able to get some batteries later on. First off, this Gandalf, you would be able to use this Gandalf to, well, reenact the Balrog scene in the first movie, The Fellowship of the Ring, where Gandalf is facing the Balrog in Moria, and it ends up plummeting down with it and fighting it farther. He has a removable, you can see here, a removable hat, which is a rubber, very flexible, pliable. This one is in slightly rough condition, but fits very well on his head and is not entirely apt to falling off or being knocked off, which is another good thing. His staff is removable from his hand, which, as you can see, has two prongs that would connect the staff, which has a light bulb, to the battery in his arm, which, by the way, is somewhat difficult to remove. But the staff here has the crystal on top, which you see Gandalf use when they enter Moria to provide light. It is translucent, clear, all that. The staff is pretty flexible, it's soft, sort of plastic, not exactly rubber. Looks fairly realistic to the staff in the movie, but you can't expect too much from an accessory to a toy, so not bad. The shawl, I would believe we could call this a shawl, is rather flexible, kind of a rubbery sort of thing that will easily go over Gandalf's shoulders. And it's best to have Gandalf wear that particular shawl when you plan on having him posed like this, with his arms open and everything. Again, this is where his sword would go if I had it. And his fingers are completely closed in on themselves, really, so that he can hold the sword more firmly. His hands swivel a little bit. As you can see, that's where the batteries would go. His arms bend at the elbow, they swivel at the shoulder, and can be lifted or put down, whatever. His robe is a soft plastic, sort of rubbery thing again. His legs will bend at the knee, and you can even lift them up, put them back, whatever you want. His beard and head and hair are a hard plastic, as are his legs, arms, torso, etc. He will swivel at the hip and has a striking action with a lever on his back to his left hand, which would hold the staff. And I assume that when you push this lever, it would also make his staff light up. I would assume that's what it would do. Send the power to the staff. All in all, I do like this action figure. It works pretty well, and it's good for posing, particularly, like I said, with the Balrog scene. And I'm pretty sure that it would look pretty cool if I had batteries to make his staff light up. And that is not an innuendo. Don't even go there. So that's Gandalf. Now let's talk about Legolas. I kind of like this Legolas action figure because I have found that with the other Legolas action figure that I have with Rohan armor, which I'll talk about some other time, this one is not, well, particularly bulky, let's say. He's easy to move around, doesn't have a lot, doesn't have a cape to really get in the way sometimes, and he has his bow, his original bow, before he was given the, I guess, cooler bow from Galadriel, and that would be a Mirkwood bow here, I believe. This is the original bow. This Legolas, once again, I got from a lot from eBay, so he is not entirely complete. All the accessories are not original. I had to borrow the arrows and his 2 elvish knives from the Rohan armored Legolas that I have, so forgive me for that. His bow is kind of detailed. It's got some gold inlay, well, not inlay, but gold paint, a little bit of designs, some leaves around the handle, and I would say kind of like gold leaf at the top and the bottom to hold the fish line. Another thing about the bow and arrow characters, the archers in general, is that NECA, I believe this is NECA or Toy Biz, I think, yeah, has made them to where you can actually fire arrows from the bow. Might be a little hard for people with big hands, but it's pretty cool, and I've tested. The arrows fire pretty far if you pull it back hard enough and not break it. But they are pretty easy to break, so be careful of that. This Legolas, has the eternally flowing hair that is the Legolas character, I suppose. I think there's maybe one version of Legolas where the hair is actually flat and not like it's blowing in the breeze. This is Legolas in his traditional Mirkwood attire. The bottom half of his top, shirt, whatever, is a rubbery sort of material. The rest of him is a hard plastic. He is fairly articulated, bending. Well, you can move his legs at the hip, bend his knees, move his feet. Pretty cool. And his arms can bend at the elbow, swivel at the shoulder, and you can move his hands at the wrist. This one has more open hands, so it's easier to put weapons in his hands. For instance, his knives would be able to go into his hand fairly well, fairly easily. There we go. So you have that. Fairly cool. He has also a, I don't know what you call it, jabbing action? Or maybe it's more like reaching for an arrow action, I don't know, and you would you would squeeze his legs like that to activate this action. He seems to be scowling, though. But I suppose that's normal for a Mirkwood elf, perhaps. The arrows are, well, they have a slight, very slight, divot, kind of a little mark at the end where you could easily, or easy enough, string them up and get ready to fire them if you want. He has his quiver for the arrows to be put into. Lots of room for the arrows, so it's not like you're cramming them in there. He also has little holes in his pack for his elevation knives to fit into. So he can carry all of his weapons, in other words, so you don't have to worry too much about losing anything that is Legolas's weaponry. All in all, I would say that this Legolas is a good one to have for just Legolas in general. He's a good one to have. Slightly amusing with the action that he has. And if you don't mind Legolas having flowing hair, as he always seems to have, you could just add him to your basic Fellowship action figure collection. And now we are going to go to Strider.
He's one of them rangers. Dangerous folk they are, wandering in the wilds. What his right name is, I've never heard, but round here, he's known as Strider. Strider.
This one, I believe, is Strider when the hobbits, which is Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin, first, meet Strider, or Aragorn, excuse me, wrong book series, in the town of Bree in the Prancing Pony when they went to meet Gandalf and he wasn't there. But I believe that's what the manufacturers were going for. So, in all honesty, I really don't like this version of Aragorn that much, because you can't move him too much. I mean, he is articulated, but not so much that you would be able to pose him all that well. And, well, this one just doesn't look right. I mean, the face does not look like Aragorn. He doesn't look right. Anyway, he comes with his cloak, which can pretty easily be placed on his head, taken off. All that. Not a very good cloak, but hey. And two, I guess you would call them packs of his stuff. Bedroll, I would assume, for him to lay on. Which, by the way, is one solid piece of plastic that cannot actually be used as a bedroll. And I would say this could possibly be his fishing equipment, or his bow and maybe arrows. I don't know. They're just something for him to look like he's carrying something important around, I guess. This Aragorn himself has his sword. Very cool, but very flimsy, as you can see. You can move his hands at his wrists. His elbow moves, bends. Arm swivels, both at the shoulder. You can move his head, kind of up and down a little bit. Hair is soft, sort of plastic. His feet, boots in general, are rubbery and kind of flexible. But, well, I guess you can. You can bend his leg at the knee ever so slightly, but don't expect him to ever sit down and not look like he has no joints in his knee. You have the scabbard for his sword. Coat is kind of soft plastic / rubber. And he has sword action, slashing action, whatever you want to call it, with this button on the back that you press. That's okay. That's pretty cool. Like I said, don't really like this one very much because it doesn't personify Aragorn very well. Can't move him around very much. Not very well. And he will never, ever sit down. So, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this version of Strider or Aragorn for you very much, even if you're just going, well, if you are going for a basic Aragorn, it might not be so bad, you know, just for show. Don't expect to make him move around too much. Not great, but not the worst. So, and that is my first review episode for the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, Gandalf, Legolas, and Aragorn, or Strider, from the Green Box collection, or line, whatever you want to call it. All in all, I would say you could get Gandalf, Legolas. Don't really recommend Aragorn, this version, at least. I hope to get a different, better version of Aragorn to review sometime soon, maybe. So, thanks for watching. I hope this helped or amused you in some way. And I will be reviewing 3 different Lord of the Rings action figures within the week. I'm not sure. But I'll put that up as soon as I make it. And I hope you continue to watch. Don't forget to subscribe, like if you like it, comment and let me know what you might not have liked or what you did like, because it does help me improve on what I should talk about more. Feel free to ask questions, and thanks for watching.